All right. So here I'm gonna get in. This game's a little bit different. If you can't tell by the picks, I'm kind of going to be talking a little bit about Armor Pen. We had a Vane, a Plank, and myself as Corki. We have a Mumu and Kennen as our other two, just to kind of round out the comp a little better. And a Mumu complements Kennen really nicely with the Magic Pen. Or magic reduction. I can't remember which. It basically, I think he reduces the magic resist of opponents when he hits them with attacks. And sort of on the opposing side, you see the opposite split where it's Jarvan, who can produce Armor Pen for Nocturne, and then a Morgana, Brand, and a Mumu. The reason I was going to get into this discussion is I figured I would explain sort of resistances and resistant shredding and sort of how that all works. In particular, this is sort of an interesting discussion because a lot of times people will pick characters and try to build really, really high damage for physical characters and just really, really high AP for casters, and they don't really think about penetration at all. Penetration or reduction. Both are really important and can mean the difference between doing all of your damage or a large portion, say like 80% of your damage, and instead only doing like 40% of your full damage, which 40 to 50% of your full damage, which with certain characters can really mess you up. I don't remember this being like the best game I could have played as Corki, but I do recall it being okay. The one thing to note about our comp versus their comp is it is far easier to stack armor than it is to stack magic resist. But that being said, based on their comp, it is highly unlikely that they will be stacking armor against us. Whereas in our comp, while I don't imagine that we'd stack lots and lots of magic resist, we will get some. I normally get a Banshee's Veil on Corki, so that's what I'm going to run towards. Obviously, our Mumu's going to have pretty solid magic resist in general. And that's sort of the picks that we have. So you see me start with my Armor Pen move. I don't remember how we break the lanes up. I think I wind up going with... I think I go with Vane. Yeah. So the reason we do this is... it's kind of funky to stack both your range carries in the same lane. I wouldn't necessarily recommend this comp. But as Corki, while you kind of need last hits, I can sort of give them up to Vane in the early game because I can maximize my farm as the game goes on. This strategy I don't recommend doing. It just happened to work really nicely because Squishy playing Vane is really, really good at last hitting, and so that works out for us. And I only need, once I hit 6, I can last hit a lot better. I can really, really farm a lot better with my ult and some of that stuff. So, and by then usually the lane phase will start to break at about level 7 to level 8 anyway, and so I can get free farm by just breaking away from the group. And there you see a Mumu saying that he likes their team build. Brand's like, I like yours, question mark. The other reason that we stuck this lane comp is also because a Mumu Corki can work because of the hold down, but Vane and Gangplank cannot. It's not necessarily the best lane. And then also the fact that Corki Plank is also not as awesome based on the fact that you really got to get last hits, and Plank's damage potential early game is a bit lower than Vane's, which is really, really important to realize. So here you see us just kind of looking around, trying to decide whether we think that the opposing team's jungler is gonna jump to our jungle. So they laned Jarvan and a Mumu. I think that's a mistake. I really think that if they're really looking to actually have a good lane position, they wouldn't lane those two together. There you see me kind of trying to decide whether I'm supposed to last hit that one or the Vane is. Here you see me dropping another one kind of low. So we know their Amumu's kind of camping in that bush there. A little bit of lag there on our game. Not really sure what that's from. Our Amumu's asking their Amumu what he started with, kind of wanting to get a feel. So the other reason why I don't recommend the two of these guys in the same lane together is because honestly it doesn't really work as well as some of the other comps they could have gone with. You know, if they decided to slot the Morgana and have the Morgana with the Amumu and maybe have Jarvan solo top, you'd get a much better lane comp. Also, solo bottom is kind of a bizarre one. It can be good in some cases. I don't recommend it, though. Here you see me just armor penning the crap out of their Jarvan. I think I even managed to get first blood. No, I'm off by a split second. That was my bad on that one. There you see the Amumu. He's got reasonable health, but I'm dodging away. Making sure to kind of pass by that minion there to ensure that I don't die. Just couldn't quite reach the Jarvan on that play. You see me almost at full, so I can kind of go back to my harass game. There you see the play there. I guess the Amumu didn't really want to commit. I actually thought he could have nailed down our Vayne if he had actually chose to shoot for the Vayne, not for me. Because obviously nailing the Vayne with the stun would have left her out of commission and would have made it so that, you know, I'm producing a ton of armor pen for a character that's stunned to try to take advantage of, which is not going to work. I'm very mono-low, so I can't really take advantage of this. You see me kind of start healing back up again. I look to block. There you see the Valkyrie over to get away. I am watching our Vayne pretty closely to make sure she can get away. I think she decides to port out. Yeah, she decides to port out right there. Not a bad spot. And then I'm tasked with holding this. I think at this point I may... No, maybe I don't go back. I know I do decide to go back at some point. And it's extremely important for me to go back. There you see me Valkyrie away again. At this point, I sort of realize exactly what their Corki or their Amumu's doing. Not really clear on their Jarvan's play. He's not really very strong in this setup. He's not really doing anything that's super threatening to me. You see me just trying to decide what to buy. Oh right, so I am shooting for Sheen because Sheen Trinity Force on Corki's pretty awesome. Particularly in this comp because I know that I'm not there to be the main damage for my team. I'm really there to be a little bit supporting. I am going to be damage on my team. I am going to make sure to buy stuff, but the Trinity Force isn't so ridiculous a play. In general, it'll really help with my burst damage. Also, the AP is not terrible because it gives my Q and my W a little bit of extra damage. And my ult also is going to have a little bit more as well. When I eventually get it, which I'm 2 levels away. Here you see me kind of boxing him away, putting a little bit of armor pen on him. You see the blind play come out. Kind of lowering the minions for Swisher to take advantage of. We haven't really gotten any shots on their tower yet. Just minuscule damage at this point. Nothing really serious. One thing to do when a wave gets pushed all the way to your tower, though, that I would recommend is definitely do not look to like pull certain minions away, try to kind of keep them grouped and start using all your skill spam to drop them fast so that they can't put any damage on your tower. It's one of those key strategies you have to keep in mind. Jarvan and Amumu are pretty solid for doing that. Corki and Vayne are not. There you see, unfortunately, they managed to take out our Amumu. Oh, and there we see our Gangplank take out their what's it called? That was an interesting play by him. He kind of gets pretty far out, but nothing super crazy. Amumu's been missing this whole time, but there you see, I notice him. Here you see me kind of loop around. So one thing to realize, and about that play, super dangerous on my part, but not as bad because of the fact that Corki's E does not turn off when he gets stunned. So I was in a lot less danger than it probably appeared to be in that particular play, but it's still a pretty dangerous play. I don't recommend you doing it normally. Normally I would have Q checked it with a Q shot, but then of course the Amumu wouldn't have committed, so nobody would have gotten a kill there. But you know, it gave me my ult and gave me some nice money, so I can buy some really important stuff and kind of get moving on things. There you see me get the Sheen. In all honesty, it probably wasn't the best buy. I probably should have bought boots instead, but you know, it's okay. There you see me get one ward. I think I try to decide what I'm going to do if I'm going to get more, but yeah, I think I only get the one. It would have been more advantageous for me to get two, because at this stage we're looking at starting to get ganked by Nocturne. Excuse me. So let's see what items they've got. Shooting for a Catalyst there, not a bad option on the Amumu, though not really sure about it. I would have probably gone defenses because all he's got to really do is stack armor against us, and he has a much better chance. There you see a Heart of Gold and a Cloth Armor, probably the Jarvan looking to Randuin's, or he's looking for the gold per 5 stack, which isn't a bad option. This game, was recorded a while ago. There you see the ult play. They're basically going to kill me pretty easily. There you see the ult play.